Welcome everybody to Thirsty Thursday here on Plumbing with Tim, where you, the viewer, are in the driver's seat. Hey, a brand new weekly video series, Thirsty Thursday. Great idea. This is where you, the viewer or the subscriber, leave me comments down below in the form of a question, plumbing related, and I will field those questions in the form of an answer in the next episode the week following that. And who knows, if your question's good enough, it just may be featured. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so our first question this week comes from a subscriber by the name of Alex M. Alex M. And before I have that question brought out here, Alex M has recently subscribed to my channel, and he's been very active. He's left a lot of comments. He's left some questions. Thank you very much. Big shout out to Alex M. He also has his own YouTube channel where he does gaming. So if you're into gaming and stuff like that, go ahead over to his channel and check it out. He's very good at what he does. So on with the question. Alex M asks, how tight do you have to tighten compression fittings? When do you have to stop tightening? Thanks. Well, Alex, that's a good question, and I'm going to field that question with an answer hands-on, so check it out. Now, today, when it comes to the compression fittings, we're going to be talking about angle stops. You've seen me in other videos put compression angle stops on. I have two identical angle stops. These are shut-off valves that you see underneath your sink, as well as behind your toilets and whatnot. So we're going to take two identical angle stops, all right, and we're going to put them on two different kinds of pipe. One of them is going to be copper, and one of them is going to be CPVC. And the reason why I'm doing them on two different kinds of pipe are because there's two different kinds of elements that are related yet different, that is very important that you know about in order to achieve a good tightening when it comes to angle stops. So let's start with the common factors. When you get an angle stop, Alex, and you take it out of the package, this is what you see. So I'm going to take this nut off of here, and from the factory, here's the nut, here's the valve. You have this thing that's called a brass ferrule. That's what it's called, is a brass ferrule. All right. So what we're going to start with is our 1/2-inch copper pipe, and we're going to put a compression stop on a 1/2-inch copper pipe. So I'm going to slide my nut first down on top of the pipe, just like you saw me do. Then we're going to take our brass ferrule and slide it in right behind it. Now, like you've heard me say in a lot of my other videos, we'll get back to that pipe in a second. What is it? Something that I use all the time. Rector 5, pipe dope, pipe thread sealant, every time, all the time. So before I put my valve on there, I'm going to take my little threads and I'm going to generously put some pipe dope along those threads. It's very important. Don't chintz out on anything. So now we got pipe dope on that. Remember, this is a brass angle stop. Here's our 1/2-inch copper with our nut and our ferrule that I showed you. I'm going to cap it down on top of it, just like that, bottom it out. Bring that nut up with the ferrule, and I'm going to tighten it by hand, just like that. All right, I can't tighten it anymore, but it's not tight. The restricting factor is that little brass ferrule that's inside of there. It's snugging itself up from where the pipe meets the actual fitting. So we always, when we do these types of installs, we want to have an open-end wrench as well as a pair of channel locks. And this is how you know if your compression stop is going to be tight enough or not. I'm going to take my open-end wrench down on the nut, and then I'm going to take my channel locks on the back of here, just like so. Watch carefully. And I'm going to start tightening that nut down. Sometimes you need to adjust your angle on your channel locks, get a better grip. And I'm going to start tightening. I'm tightening as hard as I possibly can. This is something that's going to take some time to really know where you're at. Take a good look at where the nut meets the thread. I don't see any more threads on there. I pretty much tightened that down. I can't turn this by hand anymore. Go out and turn your water on. Make sure this is off first. If you see a drip coming out of the bottom of that, that means you probably need to get the wrenches back on there and tighten it down just a little bit more. All right, never over tighten anything, because you're going to end up having a problem with a failure of breaking apart in here or bending the inside of that pipe. Second way of installing a compression stop or a angle stop that's compression is with CPVC. Same process as what I just showed you. Only difference is, here's that second one. I'm going to take the nut off there. Instead of taking this brass ferrule, I'm going to take and put that aside. And I'm going to put a plastic poly ferrule. Slide our nut on there, as usual, just like that, over a 1/2 inch CPVC. Slide our poly ferrule over top of it. Then we're going to take our shut-off valve. We're going to do the same thing as we did on the other one, and we are going to put pipe thread sealant, pipe dope, Rector Seal 5, nice and generously. And we're going to slide this thing on the pipe like we did the first one until it bottoms out. Slide that nut and ferrule up to it, just like so. Tighten it down by hand, so you can't tighten it anymore by hand, just like that. I can still slide that thing around. When I get ready to go ahead and tighten this like I just showed you with the copper one, snug it down until it feels snug. Don't bury that thing all the way over. And the reason why is because there's more give in that plastic than there is the brass. So as you're tightening it down, that plastic ferrule is crunching itself up against that seal. If you crunch it too hard, it's going to end up failing, and now you're going to end up having a leak. You'll know how tight you need to have it just simply by, tightening it as good as you possibly can on the CPVC. Don't over tighten them, because like I said, you're going to crush that poly ferrule that's inside of there. Do the best you can. Turn the water on. If it seems to still be leaking or something, or a small drip, try to snug it up just a little bit. You're going to know after a while. It takes some time. It's trial and error, but that's what you need to do, and that's how tight you need to tighten a compression fitting. Okay, so second question of the evening here comes from a random viewer by the name of Johnny Stetson. And his question is actually a very frequently asked question that I get all the time from a lot of customers. What temperature should my water heater be set at? Well, seeing such a popular question, I'm going to answer that very simple with you. Stick around and check this out. All right, so this is what's called an electric water heater tune-up kit. All right, it's the same basic stuff that's in any general electric water heater. What I want to show you is we got two elements that are heating the water up inside of the heater, and then you've got the upper thermostat and the lower thermostat. Now I'm going to show you really quick and closely. Take a look at those thermostats and see what they're set at. If you look closely down here at these little white dials right here, they're between 120 and 125. It's the same thing that you're going to find inside of a water heater, brand new when you buy it. And here's the reason why, is because it is mandated and been tested that anything over 125 can cause injuries from scalds, especially if you have small children or elderly people that live in your home. It only takes a moment to scald them and give them third-degree burns. So that's why I never mess with them. I have customers that ask me, hey, could you turn my water heater up some? At that point, I get out a disclaimer, make them sign that, and that way I'm not liable for them getting injured or stuff like that. So usually a water heater temperature needs to be between 120 and 125, unless you have this hankering for really super hot scalding water. But just remember and keep this in mind. If you turn your thermostats up on your water heaters and you jack them way up, the lifespan of that water heater just went down. Okay, this is the featured question of the day here on Thirsty Thursday. This question comes from Z. That's Z-E-E. Simp. S-I-M-P. Z Simp. Z Simp, you're getting the featured comment of this week because you asked a question that it's more of a broad stroke when it comes to an answer of this. So I'm not going to get into too many detailed things. We'll release that on another video. But Z Simp asked me a very good question that kind of left me stumped for a minute, and I had to think about it and really bring up my senses and give you and deliver you the best answer I could in a stitch. So Z Simp asks, how do you become a plumber? Well, Z, the first thing that I would suggest if you want to become a plumber is I have a few small tips and steps that you should consider taking. First of all, if you're just getting into the workforce and plumbing kind of interests you and stuff like that, number one, check out what plumbing is about. Is it interesting to you? Is it something that you want to get involved with? Find out if this is really the kind of trade that you want to see yourself in. It's not about the money at first or anything like that, but is this really something that you want to get into? Second of all right, so you've decided you want to do plumbing and you want to try to learn this trade. Check around your local town or your local area, wherever you want to be or find yourself being, and find a company that will hire you as a helper. Hey, even if you got to go in and you got to sweep some floors or stock some parts on a shelf and stuff like that, first of all, you're not going to get paid a whole lot of money. But this is your step into the door of learning how to become a plumber. Okay, and next thing you know, the boss might say, hey, look, I need you to ride with so-and-so and, pay attention to what he's doing. Next thing you know, you're on a van and you're out in the field and you're working and you're around somebody that is a plumber that knows what the heck they're doing. Absorb that knowledge, okay? Do whatever he says. Sometimes you got to swallow your pride, all right? Remember, this guy that you're working with, the plumber, has been doing it for a lot of years, so he knows what he's doing. In a week from then, the boss might send you out with a different plumber that shows you something completely different. So take everything with a grain of salt, because not every plumber does things exactly the same way. Doesn't mean the right, doesn't mean the wrong, they're just different. So just absorb every bit of knowledge and techniques, and also start thinking and learning the terminology when it comes to plumbing. What do I mean by that? In your spare time, do things like some research, okay? Go on to some different plumbing channels such as this and, research things. Go onto Wikipedia, watch videos, read some books and stuff like that, and really pay attention. Well, what the hell is PVC? Or what is a shark bite? Or, what's a house stoppage? Or what's a P-trap? Who knows? This is up to you. This is going to be up to you to how bad do you want to be a plumber? This is how you become a plumber. You have to start off from the bottom. But the first thing that I really think, outside of asking yourself the question, do I want to be a plumber? Yeah, I want to be a plumber. I would suggest every single one of you guys out there that's decided you want to do something like this, take a year of your life and go find a job as a maintenance technician in an apartment complex, a resort somewhere. And what this is going to do for you, straight out. You're not always going to be doing a bunch of plumbing. You're going to be, hanging a door, or, fixing a blind or doing something. But you're going to run across a little bit of plumbing here and there. Some basic skills like replacing some parts in the toilet or doing whatever. So get yourself doing that, but also that creates the basic motoring skills. How to use your hands, how to use your eyes, how to use your brain. These are important things. And on top of that, by being a maintenance guy and being around people for a year, it's also going to start sharpening you and getting you involved with PR, working around people and learning people, which is going to allow you to excel down the road as being a service plumber. So that being said, absorb all the information you possibly can. Most importantly, if you do happen to get in the door of some plumbing company and as a helper, make sure your butt's at work every single day. Don't miss any work. We all understand you get sick, or I've got to go here, I got to go there. Look, minimize the amount of time that you miss when it comes to work. Being there every day, being the first guy there, staying until the last job's done, the boss is going to find that you're interested, and so he's going to start looking to you to put you into bigger and better skills. And but you can't be an idiot and keep calling out of work, or having the plumber that he puts you on the van with complaining. All right, because then you're going to get sent over to another van, and everybody's going to complain about you because, hey, look, you put Joe on my van and he sits on the phone all day, or he's sleeping, or all he does is hang out, and he's not wanting to help. That's not success. Success happens with you. How badly do you want to be a plumber? So you take these few steps that I'm showing you and just do some studying and stuff like that. Make sure this is the kind of trade that you want to be into. Get yourself some motoring skills and stuff like that. That way when you go to apply for a job as being a plumber's helper, you're not a complete idiot. You know what a P-trap is, you know what a fill valve is, or a wax seal, or whatever it is. That is going to help you out. If you just jump into this trade without knowing anything about anything, it's going to be a longer and harder road to the top. That's all the time we have today, guys. Thank you so much for being part of this debut video of Thirsty Thursday here on Plumbing with Tim.